Hey guys, I'm Phoenix Gray, and this is LitRPG Happy Hour, where I sample LitRPG and alcoholic beverages. Feel free to drink along if you dare. Today I'm going to be reading a sample of Cat's Quest, Book 1 by Roman Prokofiev. I probably butchered his name, and if I did, I'm so sorry. And I will be playing a game along with it called You Have Been Notified, where I'll take a drink every time there's a notification, not including character sheets or items. If you want to follow along, pause the video and download a copy of the book sample at the link provided, or you can just take a drink whenever I do. As disclaimer, I do not read every book that I drink to. This is all for fun and to help spread the word about LitRPG and these awesome books. Having said that, let's get started. This is going to be one of those videos where I'm like slightly concerned that I might tap out because I am drinking today I'm drinking this Capriccio, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm not 100% sure. It's a Sangria. The story behind me buying this was I was having a really shitty day and I went to the liquor store and I'm like, I'm just gonna buy like everything. And I saw this and I picked it up and I took it to the counter and I was like, have you had these before? And she was like, yeah, I actually have. And they don't taste great, but they will get you fucked up because I will show you as soon as I uncap this. They're so proud of how much alcohol is in this. It's 13.9% that it's actually on the cap. It's on like the 6-pack holder thing when you buy it. But let me go ahead and pop this. They actually taste good. I didn't expect that I was going to like them because I don't like red wine. But yeah, I don't know if you can see that. Let me go ahead and minimize this. 13.9%. They're very proud of the alcohol in this. Anyway, this book is, I'm actually really looking forward to reading it. It was a fan request. And just scanning over it, it looks super cool. So I'll go ahead and get started. Prologue. Cat. Well, as the story goes, honestly, I'm shocked. Humorist you. I see. Cat. Can't log in from any of the accounts, and every time I create a new one, it's the same. Big notification on the screen. You remember I sent you a screenshot. Humorist you. You got banned? Permanently? Both with ID and hardware? Congrats. Try sending an email to support admins begging them to unblock you. Cat, I did. The answer's the same. Blah, blah, RMT, get lost. I still have tons of money on my accounts. All my game assets are frozen. Every game wallet is blocked. Humorist you. I agree. No fun. Cat, yeah, we're totally screwed. Humorist you. I bet there's some of my money there too. Let me think. Cat, what do you suggest? Humorist you. Suggest? Go find another source. I gotta fly. Making sure I'm turning up my volume real quick. Alright. I irritably clicked the keyboard keys and closed the chat window. I maximized the window of Cosmos Online once again, only to read a big red notification. You are banned. I can't believe I screwed up. 12 accounts which had been a stable source of income for almost 5 years and, most importantly, a swag of property connected to virtual wallets were no longer available. I tried various tricks like using virtual computers, proxies, and dynamic IPs to sign up all over again, but nothing helped. Administration at Cosmos had totally cut me off from the game. How much did I lose? At least 4 or 5 taro of game currency. All that in accounts, and about the same amount in goods and property, plus the value of the game characters that I had been leveling up, which was probably just as much again, at least. All that, not accounting for 5 years of my life invested in the game. For the past 3 years, it was more like a source of income, an employment of sorts, rather than pure entertainment. It was a new generation of the VR MMO that was so popular around the world in the 30s. There was serious money involved, and where there is money in online entertainment, there are those who want to cash in on it. I was one of those who cashed in, although not in the beginning. For the first year, after I bought the helmet and game gear, I was totally immersed in the game. I was one of 10 million virtual subscribers of Cosmos Online Universe, which featured an advanced money system that allowed gamers to purchase and cash out the game currency, all completely legitimate. Finding a way to navigate the game enabled you not only to pay off expenses associated with the accounts, but also to save big time in real life. This turned out to be genius as it meant I didn't have to work. Maintaining certain game income levels enabled me to save a significant amount of money. I smirked. I once read that human needs always grow one step ahead their abilities. I realized the true meaning of the colloquiums in the context of my own experience. At first, I barely had enough to maintain a decent standard of living, to buy bread and caviar. Then, I felt I couldn't afford to live the beautiful life I wanted. Parties, nightclubs, pretty ladies. Then, I didn't have enough to afford a new sedan with hybrid drive and autopilot. Then came the down payment for a mortgage, and finally, the wedding. The list could go on and on. Yes, I got quite successful. First I made money using one character, then two, and then three. Then I met Nick, another player in the game. We partnered up and started selling game currency, merchandise, and characters for real cash via his online store. Cosmos Online was thriving, and trade was going well, but we wanted more and more money. We started to involve bots, pirating, and illegal currency purchases from other players. The system of currency exchange developed officially, but the game admin was as follows. A currency buyer had to offer an item to the inter-game auction specifying price and quantity. Then he had to make a deposit in real money and wait until another player wanted to exchange. The other way around, game currency for real money. Transactions would go through with a 10% commission imposed by Cosmos. There were always plenty who couldn't wait and were ready to buy cheaper or sell more expensive, avoiding the service commission. Those were our clients. You've no idea the kinds of transactions and schemes we would do. I'm not just boasting when I tell you that our online store was among the most popular. Nick oversaw client transactions, operating advertising, while I exploited my game connections and ensured a stable supply of the currency, until one day I was banned. There were ways, of course. I could have thrown out all the hardware, virtual helmet, and equipment, and what I cherished most, an advanced virtual capsule for total immersion that I had bought a few months earlier. I had to borrow some money, darn it. 35,000 taro, no kidding. So I guess I could have bought new equipment, changed my internet provider or an IP address, and maybe then it wouldn't have worked. The Cosmos admins use a more sophisticated banding method, for example a retina scan, which is read by the full immersion capsule. Even then, I would have had to start everything from scratch. So where are we? I started to type frantically. 1,500 taro on multiple accounts, 1,000 in cash at home, and Alina, I called to my wife, who watched TV in the bedroom. Come over here, will you? My dark-haired sleeping beauty, who was wearing a red, I don't know that word, khalat, that revealed her long legs, stuck her head out from behind the door. What? You got money? Money? She approached me, yawning. About 300 taro. Why? Ouch, what are you doing? That hurts, she screamed joyfully, and added as she began walking away. By the way, Oleg, we've got bills in the email. Can you take care of them? Let's get to bed soon. I can't sleep alone. So let's count some more. I had 2,500 taro, the savings that amounted to approximately 2 average salaries of a regular Confederation citizen, give or take. I had recently invested most of my money in Cosmos buying promising assets within the game. A big transaction was about to take place, but who could have known things would end up this way? Now for the expenses. I opened my personal email account and scanned through the bills. 1,400 taro, a monthly mortgage payment, plus 45 for the capsule. Total 1,850 taro per month, the monthly amount I owed, plus utilities, smart house subscription, internet expenses, a bill for wireless energy access, gym subscriptions, and lots of other things. And lots of other little things, which I had never actually counted before, all totaling over 3,000. Over the recent years, my Cosmos income had amounted to 9 to 10,000 taro per month, more or less. Until today, I'd been living a luxurious life, never saying no to anything, and, as it turned out, had come to believe it would last forever. I broke into a cold sweat. Things weren't looking so good. I didn't have enough savings to pay the bills. I had a month to fix it. Confederative laws are strict when it comes to tax evaders and overdue payments. If I didn't come up with the money, I would be in serious trouble, which could result in legal actions against me and selling all my property, which of course would sink my social status even deeper. They would go as far as marking my file, which would deprive me forever of the opportunity of taking out a loan. What a gloomy perspective that was. I shook my head, trying to get rid of unpleasant thoughts. Cosmo Gold came to mind, our online portal with lots of connected accounts and property from various games that weren't going anywhere. My partner, strong as ever, and I were sharing the profits. I hadn't taken out my share since forever. I need to sleep on it. Tomorrow I would give him a call and ask him to calculate what I was entitled to. He might be able to give me some advice, too. Worst case scenario, the amount would be enough for a couple of months, until hopefully I resolved everything. Trying to close all the pop-up windows from Cosmos Online that featured a big red ban sign, I clicked in the wrong spot. An annoying, colorful 3D pop-up advertisement filled the entire screen. The glossy banner said, "Sphere of Worlds awaits those who are worthy." Just like in any other fantasy game. There were pictures of a female elf with a great figure, wearing armored bikini, and a ruthless-looking, overly muscular orc holding an axe. Just the usual. I sighed, closed the window, and headed to bed. I checked my email first thing in the morning. Unfortunately, all my requests to Cosmos support team, submitted from various email accounts as well as my banned characters on my behalf, received a standard write-off response. You have been banned for violating the developer's terms of service. Paragraph blah blah RMT. The new official section of the Cosmos website featured the result of the ongoing Operation Anti-RMT. About 1,000 accounts directly associated with RMT were permanently banned. From 1 to 3 trillion were frozen on RMT wallets. RMT transactions cancelled amounted to million. The forum was a mess. Threads were popping up all over. Where's my money? What the fuck? My wallet has negative 3 billion credits. Money gone from my account. I've been banned. Help. And so on and so forth. Feeling uneasy, I opened the browser and went to our online store. It was unavailable as if the servers were down. In shock, I opened my messenger contacts to see who among my game contacts were available for calls. So Gosha, one of the leaders of the group I worked with buying and selling game currency, was on. I put on my headphones and called, "Hey Gosha, what's up? This is Kat calling from Cosmo Gold." That was the name of our online store. Gosha was playing his VR capsule was on. In the background, I could clearly hear a woman's voice belonging to a Cosmos Starship's flight AI. Who? His voice sounded surprised. Kat? Listen, Kat, perhaps you can tell me what all of this means. What do you mean? It was my turn to be surprised. See, I've been banned and I wanted— He's banned? Gosha giggled maliciously. He's fucking banned. Never mind, half of my guys from my alliance were banned, and the other half ended up with a negative balance in their e-wallets. I know, and I don't understand it either. I opened my mouth, but Gosha interrupted me, clearly annoyed. All the money you've sent has been turned into a negative. We're screwed, and your Cosmo Gold is down. Who's gonna reimburse us? Gosha, listen, I wasn't working alone. Lots of people got screwed over, I replied. You were— I don't give a damn. That Nick of yours pretends to be unaware of anything, like he's got nothing to do with it. Tells us it's all you. Me? I was utterly confused. You. He said you were working with him and that you'll have to deal with the mess. Listen here, pussycat. His voice became suspiciously low. I'm gonna take a trip to your goddamn— Wow, I can't say that one either. Ekaterinburg to pay you a visit. You know how much money we— Seeing no point in further communication, I hung up. Gosha, however, wasn't done. An incoming call came right through, so I decided to block the contact. Hope he has fun in Ekaterinburg. I live in Kazan anyway. Oleg, who are you arguing with? Alina came running into the room, looking worried. Is everything okay? Yes, babe, I replied, looking at her. I laughed. Calm down, your eyes are big as quarters. Quarters? She opened them even wider. There haven't been quarters for a long time. Are you making fun of me? Come and have breakfast. It'll be ready at 10. That was the way she was, beautiful and caring. I would even say sometimes overly so. We've been married for a little over 2 years, and it was a happy marriage. Alina was perfection, a beautiful princess from a fairy tale who descended from the sky right into my arms. At her side, I felt like a real man, who cared for and protected his chosen one from the cruelty and injustice of the world. I was raised that way, to be the breadwinner, even though the notion was becoming obsolete. That was why I brought meat to the table, while she made our cave look cozy and beautiful. That was the way it should be, if you asked me. I was lost on the internet once again, reading in detail the contents of the official forum. The scale and consequence of the wave of bans was catastrophic. Everyone who had traded currency avoiding the official channels and everyone who had used third-party software like bots, macros, and scripts were permanently banned. As for all those who had purchased currency illegally, they lost double the amount, resulting in negative account balances, as if there hadn't been enough. I applauded the work support had done. Such enormous labor would involve scanning gigabytes of logs and tracking the chains of accounts and transactions, which clever dealers like Nick and I used to cover our tracks. Still, it didn't help. Long story short, the admins wrote, "We will take your money and property if you violate the rules. Purchase real money only via official channels, otherwise you will be banned. Don't try to cheat and enjoy the game." Meanwhile, Nick popped up online. I tried voice calling him a few times, but he only dropped the calls. Finally, he wrote in the chat, "Humorist you. Can't talk right now. Stop calling. Cat, we have to talk. It's urgent. Humorist you. Right here. Cat, why is Cosmo Gold unavailable? Humorist you. The operators got their phones and Skype lines overwhelmed by clients calling about their negative balances. Did you read the forum? I closed the store temporarily. We don't need extra warnings right now. Cat, I hear you're blaming it on me. Humorist you. Look, it was your scheme admins exposed. And almost all the clients came from you, so deal with them yourself. Cat, we kind of shared the profits, though. Humorist you. Cat, you've got to understand, it's getting real serious. The amounts owed are big. No kidding. I received calls from people threatening to sue. Humorist you. So I suggest the best course of action would be, I don't know who you are and you don't know who I am. Cat, transfer my share for recent months. Humorist you. What money? I'm trying hard not to lose my own. Humorist you. Anyway, I gotta go. It was nice working with you. Humorist you has blocked Cat. Here we go. He conned me out of a few thousand taro. At least he said bye. I'm officially bankrupt now. Trying to contain the outrage that was threatening to consume me, I told myself to pull myself together and start thinking. What did I know about my partner? I met him while playing Cosmos Online. Nick, or Uncle Nick as I sometimes called him, lived in Moscow, the former capital of our motherland. I had seen him in person only a couple of times, a man about 10 years my senior, as he liked to describe himself, a gamer from the 21st century. He switched to Cosmos currency after our meeting. Before that, he used to trade gold, leveled up game characters, sold clothes, and various other long-forgotten MMORPG. I realized I really knew nothing. Just his messenger contact and his phone number. I did not know his full name or his address. We shared no mutual friends, but that was okay. I was smart. I would come up with something. Only what? No point in contacting anyone in the game. Looked like I really did lose all my money. In my head, I started to formulate vague ways of getting even with Nick. We'll see about that. Mental note taken. As I was having breakfast, I continued to contemplate my options. What am I going to do next? For the past 5 years, all I had known was making money through Cosmos. I had no other source of income. I couldn't think of a single thing I could do as I had abandonment any attempt to find a real job as a teenager. All I had ever done was trade in the online gaming world. First it was War Online and Project Titan, then I switched to Cosmos. It looked like it was time to find something else. Nick was right. I need a project where I could make money. Alright. A few search requests and forums kept getting me to the newest hit. Top 1 among the gaming ratings. The Sphere of the Worlds. Let's see what kind of beast it is. Isn't it the Sphere that Alex, an old friend of mine, wouldn't shut up about a few months ago? I opened the website. Breakthrough in VR MMORPG. Multiple unique worlds, unique quests for each player, generated dungeons, NPCs that come alive, free PvP. Social interactions and politics, tribal wars for the territories, epic events involving thousands of players, play for multiple races and tribes. I shook my head, reading the information about the game and hundreds of excellent reviews. Come to think of it, the local game had managed to gain over 30 million subscribers in the past year alone and was now occupying top positions in various rankings, though after the events of the 30th, when the capital of Russia was transferred to New Tokyo, the leadership of our Japanese game developers was becoming apparent. 30 million users was a lot, especially given the fact that the game can be played exclusively in VR capsules, which cost a lot of money. The game featured a trial, a free opportunity to check it out. But let's get some first-hand information. Let's call a friend. Here he is, available for calls. Hey, Alex. Oleg, mate. Hi, haven't heard from you in forever. How have you been? How are things in Kazan? I'm fine. What could happen to me? How are you doing? Didn't get sick and tired of the Japanese? I don't work with them anymore. I do other stuff. How's life in New Tokyo? I watched the news. Looks amazing. That's right, his friend confirmed, sounding important. What did you think? We're 14 million already, like a crazy ant house. Mostly the Japanese, of course, but lots of Europeans, Scandinavians too, and of course us. The New World Center? Looks like it, buddy. How's it going? Still playing Cosmos? Not really. Here, that's what I'm calling about. Remember you kept talking about the Sphere? Are you still playing it? Since the release date, it's been 2 years, Alex confirmed. Why? Thinking of checking it out? Maybe. Tell me more. There's a lot to tell, man, Alex laughed. So I remember playing for humans. For a newbie, it's going to be easier. That's what I thought. World of birth. Choose Dorsa Nation. Ear. Remember, it's important because I'll be able to help. Dorsa, Ear, I replied contentedly. When you create your character and finish the training, drop me a line on the messenger or from your name in the game. I'll find you and help you a bit. How do I find you there? My nickname's Alex Order. My capsule was one of the latest on the market and in mint condition. It resembled a semi-round casket at an angle, and I kept it in the corner of the room. Featuring a carboplastic lid, overall futuristic design with soft spaceship-like lines, silver metal, it allowed to adjust the transparency level. If you're curious how I laid my hands on it, it was due to a good discount offer, an online loan, annoying ads, and before I knew it, the technicians were setting it up in my apartment. Come to think of it, I could totally stick with my VR helmet, but I have a thing for all kind of new high-tech devices. Of course, I really wanted the opportunity to experience full immersion. At the core of its work was a neural interface, a sophisticated system that interacts with the eye retina, transmitting signals directly to the brain, thus generating virtual reality in your head. I never understood how it worked in detail, but I'm pretty sure some extraterrestrial involvement must have taken place at some point. The technology was way too advanced. VR was medically counterindicated to some people, about 3% of the population. The side effects included nausea and disorientation. However, overall the technology was pretty safe and was getting really popular since it could be used to show colors to the blind or make the deaf hear. Even cripples could once again reacquire their lost body parts. The business around VR was booming. A lot of online shoppers popped up all over the place, as well as virtual travel agencies and education centers, which could generate anything they wanted using the technology. And of course, there were VR games. The capsule was fully equipped and could be integrated with the smart house systems, being able to feed nutrition via tubes, enabling you to spend days on end inside the virtual reality. A soft vibrating plastic prevented bed sores, making the entire system to be a well thought out solution for the best virtual reality experience. Chapter 1, Character Creation. Character Creation Screen. Warning, initializing entry into Sphere of the Worlds. Neural interface has been loaded. User ID defined. Total immersion in progress. Complete darkness suddenly turned into an image of a colorful sky. It felt like I was falling from somewhere high. A few seconds later, the feeling changed to that of flying, which was more pleasant. An invisible force carried me above the clouds, between which I could see vast green valleys down below replaced by mountains, bright blue oceans, and yellow desert sands. From the bird's eye view, that unknown force flipped me once more and placed me among the clouds overlooking an incredible sunrise. Sphere of the World welcomes you. Please select account type. Flashing in front of me, or inside my mind, were captions accompanied by a contralto voiceover. 4 diamond-shaped icons popped up in front of me, carefully and skillfully decorated by fantasy ornaments. Let's see, what do we have here? Wooden account was the lowest type of account. As I focused on the icon, it increased in size, and lines of text appeared on the screen. The contralto voiceover began speaking. Wooden account is the basic account in the Sphere of the Worlds. This account is completely free. Turn off the voice interface, I snapped. The voiceover always annoyed me, preventing me from being able to focus. The voice died away, and I focused on reading. So, wooden account. Completely free, a trial of sorts. This was the point Zero Alex had told me about. Limited list of races and character features. The max SP was 1000. Is it much or not really? I would start off with just a few items. Crafting skills were disabled as well as combat skills and quests. The reputation level was limited to respected. Joining tribes was disabled. Silver account. The price was 300. Limited races, worlds, and appearances. Leveling up and reputation were unlimited. It came with a certain Wanderer's kit for free. Maybe this was the most common account in the Sphere. Neither too cheap nor too expensive. It allowed you to play even if it lacked uniqueness. Gold account came with a subscription of 1,000 red ones and featured all races, worlds, and appearances. It also had a special starter kit from the admins that included a scalable artifact, a unique pet or mount for free stuff with each payment, access to priority support line. This account was for all the fancy kids, I concluded, for those who didn't count money and liked to show off. I wondered if the unique pet affected the game balance. The last count choice, Diamond, for 5,000 tarot, bewildered me. Instead of a perks description, a notice popped up saying that those wishing to purchase this type of account would be contacted by the admins within 5 minutes who would explain all available benefits. I hadn't seen this kind of approach in any other game before. I wondered what kind of perks they were offering for that amount. Just to give you some context, a bottle of beer cost about 1 tarot, and for the price of 15 to 20,000, you could buy a decent car. Well, I'm here to find out whether it's the game for me. I can always pay later if it makes sense. I chose the icon for the wooden account, and an invisible force picked up my virtual body, taking me down to the valleys, square fields, mountains, and seas. I was thrilled as the wind blew in my face. It was very well made. I'd only experienced that before in VR Avia simulators. Having arrived at the spot with the mountains in the background, I was looking at the ruins of ancient columns. The notice blinked. Creating your avatar. Select your world. Dorsa, I commanded, seeing a long list of worlds with all kind of names. Most of them were disabled. Their names appeared as either light gray or dark red. Dorsa lit up green, available to newbies, just like Alex promised. Note, the world is loading. Information on the world was showing on the screen. Dorsa, Class B, Earth-like world. Location, gray worlds. Size, enormous. Continents, 5 large archipelagos, 2 large islands, 11 available races. Humans, elves, dwarfs, hobbits, orcs, ogres, tritons, mermen, centaurs, nagas, demons. Gods, yes. Average online, 450,000 players, 4th level popularity. Language groups, Russian, Japanese, English, German, Polish. Colorful map and description appeared below. The vast world of Dorse is among the oldest in the sphere of the worlds. It was here, 1,000 years ago, that the mysterious ancients lost the Great War. Since then, the various fragments of this world have been weak and scattered. The House of Darkness, revived by goddess Ananazart, who returned from the abyss, is trying to make Dorse submit to its power. And so on and so forth. I didn't want to read all that nonsense and moved on. Select your race. Excuse me. That was a long one. I looked at the long list of available races. Wow. At least 100 names, from regular humans to elves, dwarves, exotic rakshas, centaurs, and demons. There was also underwater races such as tritons and mermen. Some races' names appeared in red or gray, which meant they were unavailable in this world. Out of curiosity, I focused on the elves icon. The system immediately suggested a variety of sub-races and nations, High, Gray, Valley, Sun, each with their own unique bonuses, traits, appearance, and detailed descriptions. It would take me days to get into it, and I only had a couple of hours. Back to selecting races, I said, race, humans. Humans are Dorse's most numerous race. Human settlements can be found almost anywhere. The physical and mental powers of humans are well balanced, while their customs, morals, and appearance can vary greatly. Skip the description. Next, selecting nation. The system returned a long list, where among the Hyvanus, Invars, and Tolu tribes, I found the Ear people that Alex had recommended, selecting this one. Following the fall of the ancients, waves of nomadic invasions from the Great Desert swept their former possessions in the northwest of Dorsa. Bloodthirsty Nasi and ferocious Hittites devastated the lands of the fallen empire for hundreds of years. The ancient blood almost dried up, but its strength, although dormant in the inhabitants of these lands, runs within the proud Ear people. In Kan Ilo, the forgotten language of the ancients, Ear means possession, land, right. The system accepted my choice and suggested an avatar template, an option to use my real appearance and randomly generate one. I chose the latter, and my 3D digital copy appeared against the background of mountain and columns. A handsome man, I concluded, quite pleased with myself, as I looked at my digital reincarnation from various angles and then proceeded with making adjustments. The account didn't feature a wide selection of hairstyles, hair colors, and other appearance settings, but what was available was more than enough for me. I adjusted the height, making myself taller, widening my shoulders, added some muscles, although not too much. I colored my shoulder-length hair dark blue, almost black, then changed the shape of my eyebrows and my chin. I pondered a bit more, then made my face scruffy, at the same time making my character appear slightly younger. That's good. That's what I could have looked like 7 years ago, if I were a bit taller, had colored my hair, and of course, been to the gym. Enter your name. That's so cute. Cat. This username is taken, the system prompted indifferently. Okay then, C-A-T. It has periods between it, by the way. It's like C period A period T period. This username is taken. Looks like it will take me a while here. Apparently my favorite nickname was very popular among online games users. 5 minutes later, having gone through various combinations from cat in the bag to cat2025, I gave up. I set a command requesting a list of available usernames containing the word cat, almost immediately chose hot cat, like a hot dog, only with the word cat. Funny, I liked it. After I tried the game, I could always delete the character and create a new one. So I entered the name. What's next? A semi-transparent window popped up in front of me containing a character dummy that looked like an ideal representation of a human being. It was Da Vinci with lots of interesting icons, characteristics, and skill choices. A local chart list, I concluded. I thought how well everything was drawn, giving credit mentally to the game's designers who had developed the interface. Lots of information, symbols, little icons, yet everything seemed intuitive and clear. Before immersing myself in the game, I checked out various forums and guides about Sphere of the Worlds. The game didn't feature the traditional system of classes and levels. Instead, a system of skills was implemented. They leveled up as the game progressed. Everything seemed quite simple at the first glance. All you had to do was run around leveling up your athletic skills, fighting with swords, developing one-hand weapon skills. Each skill featured 10 grades from newbie to legend that were represented as skill points. That was about the only thing I understood. The rest was all Greek to me. More advanced skills were made available as you leveled up your basic skills. The learning speed coefficient of the more advanced skills were significantly lower, and it seemed the more you continued to level up a skill, the longer it took for each level. People wrote that level of difficulty was progressive. Maxing the skill required thousands of SP and took a very long time. It seemed to be nearly impossible. The amount of total SP a character had illustrated how cool and skilled that character was. Specialization was represented by a few different types, which partially resembled traditional classes in other games. The system assessed the sum of all developed skills and assigned a player an archetype, following combinations of all possible individual abilities, which were sometimes quite unexpected. The main difference constituted an ability to acquire several archetypes simultaneously. However, active archetypes, meaning those that could be activated at the same time, were limited to 3. As time went by, archetypes could be swapped and developed to acquire new abilities. There were many archetypes, from common to legendary, which the greatest minds of online worlds were losing sleep over trying to master. So far not so clear. I guess I'll have to try it for myself. Distribute your characteristics. Eight points for 7 basic attributes. Not much. Having thought a little longer about the contents of one of the guides I had read, I assigned a point to each attribute and used the last available point to increase stamina. Why? Stamina was one of the most important characteristics at the beginning. It directly affected the avatar's stamina level and how many hits it could inflict during combat. It also accounted for how long the avatar could walk, run, or carry items. Constitution was represented by hit points and the amount of damage the character could suffer. Durability dictated damage that can be inflicted, and the ability to lift heavy weights. Charisma skills helped to win the allegiance of NPCs, non-playable characters, and consequently to undertake more interesting quests. Intelligence affected the damage done by magic and the amount of mana points available to the character. I didn't really need it. And then there was luck, too, the subject of the most vicious holy wars on various gaming forums. Some players believed it to be the least useful skill, while others believed it to be the most useful. Basically, that was it. The variety of available skills was bewildering. The descriptions alone would take half a day to read. Skills were sorted into various groups: combat, craft, social, magic, and many others. I picked combat, and of course, there were lots of subtypes: one-handed weapons, two-handed weapons, hand-to-hand, shields, mental weapon, archery. These were just the basic ones. Each group featured subgroups of advanced skills, which required first developing the basic skills in order to level up. Having opened the one-handed weapon category, I spotted skills for long swords, short swords, daggers. In order to obtain the skill, one had to be at least level 3 in one-handed weapons, 300 and 1000 SP, and so on. Sounded harsh. I only had 50 starting skill points. I confidently invested them all in trade skills. Why? So I could gain access to the game auction, the functionality of which I was going to try first off. Yes, having gained access to the auction, one could do all kinds of trading, but only after having developed the necessary skills. Are you ready to complete your character creation? Yes. Warning, generating random racial characteristics. What the heck is it? My mouth dropped, but the system gave good news. Your racial specialty. Smart. Congratulations, you've acquired a rare racial characteristic. Ancient gene. The character dummy now featured 2 new icons. The first one was clear. Smart. Your mind is quick. You can gain experience faster than other players and are able to learn quickly, plus 10% to experience gained. Nobody warned me about that. A nice bonus. Now I can level up quicker. However, the description of the second icon was confusing. Ancient gene. Ancient blood is dormant in your veins, but nobody knows when and why it may awaken. Mysterious. Well, I guess we'll find out. Character creation complete. Do you want to enter the game? Hell yeah, here I come, Sphere, watch out. Chapter 2, Tutorial. Warning, before entering the game, set up full immersion level. Oh my god, that like got my that was so weird. Oh, I see. The usual. God damn, that's like bothering me. Okay. Yeah, so what happened is somehow from this bottle, some sangria splashed into my eye. Not really sure how it happened. Anyway, after the neural interface was developed, the developers faced a serious dilemma regarding user pain sensations. The internet rapidly flooded with all kinds of rumors and horror stories about people going nuts or even dying from heart attacks when fully immersed. Naturally, there could not be a true experience of pleasure without also experiencing pain. The two feelings were deeply intertwined. Like spicy food, it is a matter of taste. Some like it hot, others can't stand it. Oddly enough, a solution was found by the super popular web portals featuring, virtual girls and adult VR entertainment. Fighting the mandatory legal limit on full immersion, the 50-60% that was considered safe, they came up with a progressive scale based on individual tolerance. The idea was well received and rapidly implemented across various VR services, looking as follows. Immersion level is a scale where 100% is the maximum pain threshold a particular user can endure. It varies from one individual to another. While one person might pass out from a slight pinch, another can endure the sensation of touching hot metal. Thus, 100% immersion did not represent the realness of pain, but rather the limit a given individual could endure. Just to be safe, at the dawn of the VR, a technology known as mental block was developed. Capsules that didn't feature this technology couldn't get certified. Various indicators, triggered by body signals, went ahead and disconnected the user from the internet. That made dying from pain in the game impossible, while immersing oneself to 100% pretty much guaranteed an extreme and unforgettably real experience. Excuse me. According to millions of excellent game reviews all over the internet, all the five senses were within the framework of the game, featuring worlds with outstanding levels of reality detail. Physically, the game was allegedly implemented on the molecular level. I don't know, we'll see. I shifted the immersion level control to the middle. 50% would be enough to get a sense of it. Warning, by signing this agreement, you hereby confirm that. Do you wish to proceed with basic training? Training? I guess a small tutorial won't hurt. Loading the game. Finally, everything around me turned dark, and I was given my virtual body. Location, Dorsa World, Continent Dorsa, City, Golden Fairs, Sewage, top level. Quest, Sewage and Rats. Training quest, you're surrounded by abandoned city sewers. Get out of the dungeon, finding your way up. Reward, Experience Artifact. Warning, this is a training task designed to get you familiar with the basic principles of the game. Entourage and features are limited to the status of your account. You can cancel at any time. So I was down in the sewage. Penetrating the surrounding darkness, a dim light came through the barred skylights. I was standing ankle-deep in water in what appeared to be a semicircular tunnel about double my height. The stone walls were covered with a slippery-looking brown-green mold, and a cobweb hung from the ceiling. Yeah, not exactly a pretty starting location. The quest description implied that conditions depended on one's account type. Because I had a free wooden account, I ended up down in the sewer. The discrimination was amusing. No doubt those who had selected the silver account started somewhere in the valleys in the light of day, surrounded by bunnies. So, water, or whatever the liquid was that was running beneath my feet. It was cold and wet, but it didn't smell like sewage. I wondered if that was due to the 50% immersion level setting. Perhaps I should have gone deeper. I moved my arms and feet. Everything seemed to be in control, just like in reality. Everything around me looked so real. I jumped and touched the dirty, gray robe I was wearing. The fabric felt rough, as if it was made from a potato sack, with lots of holes in it and thick, ugly seams. Interface on, I said, a standard VR command. A semi-transparent character interface appeared in front of me. It was surprisingly empty, just a character list in various settings. It didn't feature the quest log or system chat. The inventory wasn't there either. Just 3 bars on top, red for HP, blue for mana, green for stamina. After a minute's revision, I discovered I was wearing 2 items. Beggar rags, cloth, durability 2 of 5, and beggar pants, fabric, durability 3 of 5. Both items reduced my reputation by 10 points. Besides these, I had nothing else. No weapon, bag, or even shoes. Yeah, they didn't exactly provide a welcoming experience to the new users. Hey, I shouted into the depth of the dark tunnel. The echo bounced off the walls. It's kind of spooky here, I thought. Rushing to leave, I headed in the direction the water was coming from. But about 10 steps into my journey, I tripped on something underwater. At my feet, I was looking at a wooden club. I picked it up. The system lit up the artifact. Rotten stick, one-handed weapon. Quality common. Material wood. Durability 13 of 20. 1 to 3 physical crushing damage. Hooray! At least now I had some kind of weapon. Anything was better than being empty-handed. Where's my training? Let's go further. The sewer tunnel was dark and damp, and something was constantly dripping on my head. From the depths there came a perceptible cold, musty breath. Yes, I knew these were just neural interface signals fooling my brain, yet everything looked frighteningly real. It felt so familiar. As a child, I used to sneak into the old sewers with my friends. The tunnel led to a large room with an uneven spherical ceiling. Above me shone a gaping hole from an unlatched hatch, and right below it, in the middle of the room, a pyramid of trash that had been piling up for quite some time, evidently made of garbage dumped from above. On top of the pile and all around it, I finally saw the game's first living creatures, gray and shabby with long bare tails. Rats. I smiled to myself. Hundreds of computer games, including the classics, started similarly with a quest where the hero had to kill rats. Nothing original, damn it. The rats were big, the size of a cat, I thought. Their aggro zone seemed to be wide enough, as no sooner had I appeared than they started to hiss and crawl towards me. Not crawl, rather attack. I was glad I was still a few meters away. The first and the quickest was crushed by my club. Then I felt a sharp pain in my feet. The creature had managed to bite me. I jumped away and kicked the rat with my foot, but many more had reached me by then. The little notification started to blink, informing me of the damage points being inflicted. My green hit bar was decreasing rapidly. They're going to eat me alive. Despite 50% immersion, I could clearly feel the pain. It felt as if I was being bitten by a horsefly. Mostly I felt disgust and a touch of panic. I was swinging my club and trying to kick as many rats as I could. The only available system chat was flashing with notifications, communicating the damage I inflicted or received. Finally, one lucky hit sent a rat flying and smashing against the wall, securing my first perk. Your one-handed weapon skill has been increased by 1. Current level 1 of 1,000. Damned rats. I was sweating, trying to hit as many creatures as possible. I had to back off, feeling ashamed, and move to the narrow tunnel where I could smash them one by one. By the end of combat, I was literally out of breath, sweating all over, and only had half my hit points and half the club's durability. On the positive side, I had acquired my first 4 skill points for one-handed weapon, which added 0.4% to my club-inflicted damage, and +1 to athletics, the skill responsible for walking, speed, running, and ability to endure other physical loads. My stamina bar was nearly empty, and my state dropped accordingly. I took a few minutes to rest and decided to look closely at the bodies of the dead rodents. An unpleasant surprise awaited me as I focused on a dead rat's body. The system prompted, "A dead rat. Do you want to take it?" "Impossible. You don't have a bag." What game doesn't give you inventory slots? Anyway, so what else I could do, I wondered. Finding natural reluctance, I touched the body. "Do you want to cut it?" "Impossible. You don't have the appropriate tools." Whatever, damned rats. There had to be something in that room for me. I hadn't been fighting them for nothing, had I? Poking around dark corners with my club and then the pile of trash in the middle, I finally found a few valuable items. A rusty key, a piece of apple. Food restores 1 HP. Having nothing to carry it in, I decided to leave it. The room served as a merging point for 3 different tunnels. I chose the one opposite to where I had come in from and headed onwards. So, who do I fight next? By then, my stamina level had almost recovered. I felt ready for new combat. Then I found myself suddenly at a dead end. Mounted to the wall was a metal ladder leading upwards. An exit? Perhaps. The only thing was, next to the ladder, there sat a skeleton. I approached it carefully and looked at the terrifying object, though there was nothing that terrifying about it, just a white skeleton, like one they use in an anatomy class. There was not a cloth around. The skeleton appeared to be chained to the wall with a heavy rusty chain. Next to it lay a rusty sword, and one of the eye sockets was lit up from inside. Perhaps there I might find something of value. I leaned forward, trying to see what it was, but jumped back in horror as the skeleton suddenly moved. The chains rang as the bones moved with a creaking sound. The dead man came to life, rising to his feet, a rusty blade in his hand. A whistle from the swing came as I jumped back in an attempt to dodge. The skeleton was now walking towards me. I could see clearly that the object lit up in the skeleton's eye socket was an ominous-looking bluish stone. I tightened my grip on the club, mentally welcoming the system tips. Well, this was only a training. Whatever happened, happened. The skeleton raised the rusty serrated blade once again. His strokes were quick and unpredictable. I tried to block his sword with my club, but only gasped, feeling the extent of his power. You blocked the strike. One-handed weapon skill increased 5. Rotten stick durability decreased 8 of 20. The skeleton tried to reach me with a thrusting blow to the chest, but I managed to turn around, pressing my back against the tunnel wall. I shamefully retreated to a safe zone. The chains containing the enemy prevented him from pursuing me. The skeleton froze, holding up his rusty sword in a fighting stance. So, looks like keeping defense is not an option. His moves are slow. Maybe try getting past him really quick? I jumped into the mud and then into the water. Rolling over the stone floor, I scraped my knees and elbows, but did manage to get behind the skeleton, and, while he was turning around, I whacked his white skull with my club as hard as I could. You have inflicted 3 points of damage. One-handed weapon skill increased to 6. Rotten stick durability decreased to 7 of 20. The enemy's lower jaw dropped to the floor with a bang, but this didn't affect his combat capability. He deflected my next attack with the club with a sword, reducing my club's durability by another 2 points. He was now counterattacking, forcing me into the dead end by the ladder. The stick cracked in my hands and fell apart, leaving me holding a small stump. I suddenly realized that my back was now pressed against the wall, leaving me nowhere to retreat. A rusty iron blade, flashing before my eyes, plunged deep into my stomach with a nasty smack. I think I screamed. The sensation was way too real, as if you were a tin can cut open with a rusty piece of iron. While the pain was bearable, I had the nastier feeling of being pierced through. Those who have undergone surgery at some point in their lives will probably understand what I'm talking about. The hit point bar decreased dramatically, and an alarming bleeding icon was now flashing beside it. My hands, which I instinctively pressed against the wound, turned red. Damn it, he's gonna kill me. I was horrified to see the enemy raising his weapon, which was already covered in my blood. The next blow was aimed at my head. The world shuddered and seemed to split into pieces. I then found myself in the safety of the darkness that had consumed me. The skeleton dealt a critical strike. You received 21 damage. HP 040. You are dead. Would you like to respawn? Warning, failing tutorial does not result in a penalty for dying. No. Exit. The capsule lid opened and I got out. I grabbed a bottle of mineral water from my table and swallowed it with a single gulp. My heart was pounding and hands were shaking. Honey, are you okay? Alina asked, entering the room. Yeah, just a scary thing in VR. Horror. Real horror. I tried to smile. Horror? Well, let me see. You know how I love it. I can't reprogram the capsule for you myself. I would have to be a technician. I lied. The last thing I needed was to get my wife hooked on VR. I couldn't afford another capsule. I was still struggling to pay off her car loan. I see. Just like always. She didn't seem to buy it and was looking offended. Whatever. You carry on with your VR. I'm going to hang out with Layla. Layla was an obnoxious little dog who a friend of Alina had asked us to look after while she was on vacation. I hated this particular breed of dogs, and I figured the dog felt the same way about me. Having calmed down a little, I got into the capsule again. I was angry. How could I, practically a veteran of VR MMO, he'd be defeated by the first tutorial skeleton? No, I'm not going to leave it like that. I'm sorry, I'm about to laugh because of the dog thing. I don't know why I find that super funny. Entering the game. Would you like to... I'm still giggling about it. Would you like to respawn? Location, Dorsa World, Dorsa Continent, City, Colden Fairs, Sewage, Training Quest. There I was again, in the middle of a sewer tunnel with full HP, but empty-handed. The club was no longer there, and the rats' dead bodies had not disappeared. That meant my progress had been saved. That was good. Revisiting my stats, I noticed a fourth bar had appeared below my HP, mana, and stamina. It was gray and semi-transparent, filled to about a quarter. What was that bar? Experience, 25 out of 100? Yes, having checked the log, I realized for each of the rats I had killed, I got 5 experience points. Interesting. The sphere didn't feature levels. What'll happen when I get 100 experience points? What will happen when I get 100 experience? Let's find out. The skeleton proved to be a dangerous opponent. Remembering my first death this time, I decided to think more carefully. I figured in order to defeat him, I had to explore the other tunnels. Where do I go? Of course, to the left. The left tunnel from the rat's merge was long and dry. Just as I suspected, it led nowhere. Though this time, there was a door. The thick wooden door that turned green with age had thick copper stripes. I pulled the handle. No use. The door was locked. I pushed against it with my shoulder, trying to force it open. But the system kindly informed me I needed 50 durability when I only had 1. 50? How do I get it up to 50? I remember finding a rusty key somewhere near the pile of trash. I didn't pick it up because I had no pockets, and carrying anything besides my club was inconvenient. The key must open the door. Could it be that simple? Perhaps not. The key I had picked up didn't fit in the lock. Clearly belonged to a different lock. Or maybe it was just a useless piece of trash. The only thing left was to check the tunnel to the right, which looked most unpleasant. Long, wet, and barely lit, it led uphill. Dark, bubbling, knee-deep water running through the tunnel was dirty. The tunnel ended with a drain hole where the stream of muddy water disappeared out of sight. The bars blocking the hole hid trash that I really didn't feel like digging in, but forced myself to anyway. As a result, I found a small purse with a long strap, old, wet, and worn. Purse, 4 places up to 3 kg. Durability, 6 of 30. Yeah, it didn't look very presentable. It was barely holding together, but it still functioned. Figuring out its unusual fastening, I pulled out a lockpick. Rusty and sharp, there were 7 metal tools hanging on a ring. Each counted for 1 point of durability. Apparently, I would have 7 attempts. I headed back to the wooden door. The first lockpick broke right away. I struggled to get the sharp end out that had got stuck in the keyhole. The second one broke too. Carefully handling the third, I managed to feel something inside the lock. The system prompted a reward. Sorry, I'm actually starting to slur now, quite a bit. Your lockpick skill has increased by 1. Current value, 1 of 1,000. Heh. I struggled with the lock for another 10 minutes, increasing my lockpicking skill by 3 more points. The sixth lockpick clicked to open the door and letting me in. The system notified me of my first achievement. Congratulations, you have broken your first lock. You have achieved the status of, oh my god, of Junior Lockpicker. Gain 100 XP. Next achievement, pick 10 locks. No way, guys. That was definitely not my path. The whole experience was way too real, as if I had been picking a real lock. I wondered if I could use the skill in real life. Though nobody really uses those old metal locks anymore, except grandmothers, perhaps. My experience bar, filled all the way, was now blinking impatiently. Congratulations, you have received 100 XP. As a reward, you receive a free attribute point. Note, every time you gain 150 XP, you receive a new attribute point that can be invested into any attribute. Current XP value, 25 of 150. A new attribute point? Jeez. Having opened my character dummy, I realized they were referring to durability, stamina, and agility. Using a free attribute point, I could increase any of these characteristics. That's how I could level it up, with experience. Next step, 150 XP. Not that much. I was tempted to increase durability and check how the damage inflicted increased as I fought the skeleton, but contained myself. I needed to understand the game first, see the game development tree, come up with a competitive build, then... Behind the door was a dark, dusty room filled with cobwebs. The room was small, like a small attic of sorts with a few old caskets, tons of rusty flare coasters, some broken tools, and a chest, an old chest, carefully pushed all the way into the corner. It was the chest that the key fit perfectly. Inside, I found only 2 objects, a sword, seemingly familiar to the one the skeleton used, and a book. Rusty bastard sword, one-handed weapon, quality common, material iron, durability 27 of 50, 4 to 8 physical damage, slashing. It had a bent rusty blade, the handle wrapped in strips of worn-out, disintegrating leather. However, this was a real weapon. Having appreciated its pleasant weight in my hand, I felt a surge of confidence. Okay, so now let's fight. Battered Bestiary Skill Book. Quality common, contains 125 pages. Uses 47 to 50. The book was old and worn out, with a peeling cover and battered corners. Having opened the first page, I saw a detailed engraving of a familiar gray creature. Below was a description. Nope, that was right. Anyway, below was a description and an article describing the habits of rats. As I scanned the page, I heard a pleasant notification sound resembling a bell. Congratulations, you have discovered a new skill category, zoology. Your animal knowledge skill was increased by 1. Current value, 1 of 1,000. Oh, that's right. I remembered reading about it in the guides. Some items could only be leveled up upon acquisition of skills books. Zoology, animal knowledge? Why would I even need them in the game? The book contained the answer. First, I could learn about animal habits, their abilities, habitat and weak spots, attacking which could result in an ability to inflict critical damage. I learned about other weaknesses and tactics, as well as their vulnerability towards specific types of damage. Second, with each development invested in the skill, the damage I can inflict to animals grew by 0.1%, given the appropriate scheme of leveling up. One could multiply base damage by 100%. The skill turned out to be useful after all. As I learned the skill of animal knowledge, I increased my crafts point by 2. The read bar of the battered bestiary flashed 50 of 50. And as soon as this happened, the book fell apart in my hands. That's interesting. Turns out reading new books of skills with 0 readings gives you the opportunity to raise your skill by 50 points. Something to think about. Shame the book didn't contain anything on skeletons. It was time to try again. I'd already lost more than an hour on this learning task. The enemy was waiting. His jaw had not grown back. There was a large bloodstain near the ladder. Seeing me, he got up, pulling the chain to its limit. Well, hello there. This time I'll be more careful. Blades rang and grated, colliding. I prudently kept the enemy at the border, at any moment ready to leave the radius of reach. Last thing I wanted was to die for the second time. The skeleton was quick and vicious. I decided to act as straightforwardly as I could, and 5 minutes later I realized he used only 3 chopping strikes and 2 pokes. Once I was used to his fighting technique, repelling his strikes proved to be fairly simple. Note, you have blocked 5 strikes in a row. Your one-handed weapon skill has increased by 5. Having run out of stamina, I walked away, took a deep breath, and regained my durability. This was nothing but a training, and the enemy was just a bot, a mannequin for practicing fighting skills. I realized had it not been chained to the wall, I would not be alive. What if there were a few of those, unchained, chasing me through the annals of the dark dungeon? Annals. I was sure this fear featured a whole variety. Brrr, I shrugged. Having practiced defense, I decided to improve my attacking skills. I came to realize the enemy was focused exclusively on attack. The skeleton never once tried to block my strikes, even when it was the only sensible thing to do. It took about 5 hits to get done with him. He dropped to the floor, falling apart, nothing more than a pile of bones. His skull rolled across the floor, and the blue glowing stone had fallen out of his eye socket and was now sitting at my feet. Interesting artifact, I thought to myself. I've got the giggles, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to suppress it, but they're there. Soul reviving stone, magical stone, personal, unique, cannot be lost or stolen, returns your soul to the place of checkpoint, recharge, cyclical, 1 to 8 hours. Congratulations, you've completed your training. Reward, 100 XP, soul reviving stone, current XP, 145 over 150, 145 of 150. Do you want to proceed to the city? I feel like I'm going to run out of this soon, but at the same time it's really not ending, which is good because I really don't want to have to go grab another one. Which I wouldn't grab another one of these because it's highly alcoholic. I'd grab something else, but just saying. Chapter 3, Super Chick. Ooh. Location, Dorsa World, Dorsa Continent, City, Golden Fairs. Warning, you are now connecting to in-game chat rooms. You have discovered a new locality, Golden Fairs. You received 55 XP. You received 1 free attribute point. Current XP value, 50 of 225. I don't know why I keep saying over. An unfamiliar constellation shone brightly above me in the night sky. A light, salty breeze from the sea touched my face with its weightless breath. The sphere of the world seemed to be greeting me with the pleasant coolness of the night, stars, and a taste of the sea on my lips. A rumble of sounds was filling the surrounding space, the screams of market traders, people's conversations, the haggling of buyers and sellers, shouting together with laughter, and the roars of animals. Here there was the bustle of many characters, players and NPCs rushing about their business. Nobody paid any attention to me. I was definitely in the hustle and bustle on the outskirts of the main square that were paved with gray stone. Despite the late hour, life was in full swing. There were a lot of stalls and tents, crowds of people, strange roaring animals in cages, strolling guards, and players driving back and forth or riding all kind of animals, from horses to incredible beasts that seemed to come from the pages of children's fairy tales. Lions, unicorns, griffins, cave bears, everything seemed so real. Just a few meters away, a giant dragonfly with huge mandibles invoking terror soared upward, and the wind from the wings blew into my face. On its back rode a player who controlled the creature with sophisticated harness. I watched him go, watching several winged silhouettes flash against the dark sky. Suddenly, blocking the stars, something huge floated over the square. The outlines of the object resembled Columbus's sailboat, with their slender masts, clusters of sails, and raised sterns. Was it a ship? A flying ship? Chats. I just noticed that my chat use was enabled, and it came alive with floating messages. I had to write to Alex. I slapped myself in the forehead. It took me a moment to understand how to work the local chat, customize the interface, and turn off some channels I didn't think I needed. Hot Cat. Hey, this is me, Cat. Alex order. Hey, where did you turn up? Hot Cat. City of Golden Fairs, main square. Alex order. Darn. Why so far away? Did you decide to take the training or what? Hot Cat. Yeah, I did. Shouldn't I have? Alex order. No, I wish you hadn't, but it's my fault. I forgot to tell you not to. Otherwise, you would have turned up an ear. Hot Cat. ... Alex order. Okay, wait for me by the teleporter. I'll be there in 20. Okay, let's take a look around. I was mostly impressed with how hard it was to distinguish real players from NPCs. It's nearly impossible. Nicknames were hidden, and in order to obtain information about a specific player, I had to focus on a character, which brought up a transparent icon. For example, Alien the Invincible, Clan Chaos, and Udi Pudi, Defender of Tombs, Clan Silverguards. An NPC guard in enormous guy wearing armor showed as Trimmer, Valerie, Guard of Fairs. That was it. I had read about it, but my experiencing it for the first time. You could always find out more about a character by earning reputation points, or when the player decided to reveal more info if they wanted to. Two structures in the middle of the square drew my attention. They were surrounded by concrete fences with silver patterns of exquisite carving. The structures resembled three horns with intertwined dragons drawn on top for them. A rainbow-colored fog between them. People gathered around them, partially blocking the view. I decided to get closer and take a better look. Get out of my way, noob. From within the fog came a beautiful fair-haired girl wearing a red robe with a complexion pattern and, I'm not sure how to say this either, Lamalar? Brigantine beneath it? I know brigantine. I don't know the first word. Lamalar. I probably said that wrong. Anyway, the golden crosshair of a sword she was carrying showed from behind her shoulder. I hesitated, but a forceful push of her graceful hand sent me to the pavement. She passed by, her companion following her, a tall warrior in a green cloak. He gave me a calculating look, his eyes snake-like, cold and empty. My stomach sunk. Elena and Crete, Project Hell Clan. I followed them with my gaze, making a mental note. So this must be the teleport. Well, I still have time. Let's see what they are selling here. I walked over to the nearest counter, which offered, judging by the products on display, various rings, chains, and amulets. Seeing me, a merchant, a curly-bearded NPC, squinted and threw a cover over the counter, hiding his goods. Oh, that's dick. Trade, I said, looking at his icon. Enar, merchant, and not finding anything resembling a shopping interface. Trade? The man replied. With who? You? Have you seen yourself? Get lost, don't distract me. I didn't get it. How is that possible? He didn't want to trade with me? I want to have a good look at your goods. Didn't you understand me the first time, bum? He said, raising his voice. Get the hell out of here before I call the guards. Your reputation with Enar decreased by 5 points. Value, -15. Antipathy. Oh, there we go. I get it now. The way I looked, and the beggar robes I had been wearing until now, decreased my reputation. They looked at me and saw a bum and wanted nothing to do with me. I guess they might go through the threat of the guards. I laughed to myself, picturing the way I looked. A dude in bum's clothing, a worn bag over my shoulder, and a silly rusty sword on my hands, barefoot. Walking away to be safe, I opened up the character interface. After completion of the manual, a few more options were available. One of them was reputation. By default, there was a list of all the game factions, but now there were only 2 lines. Trade Fair Fairs Guild, -10 Antipathy, and its one sub-branch, Enar, Merchant, -15 Antipathy. I don't know if that's a notification or not. I'm going to take a sip. Maybe because I'm running out. I liked the settings since I could access the reputation log and see how and why the reputation went down. With negative value, NPC didn't assign quests, didn't trade, and, as I had just witnessed, behaved quite, arrogantly. I realized that if my reputation had decreased further to hostile, they would have called the guards. If you went below that to hate, you couldn't even get into the city. As the guide suggested, leveling up one's reputation level was possible by completing quests and increasing it to a positive value requiring killing a few mobs, giving their valuables to a specific NPC. So if I managed to change into something decent, my reputation would go up. Yet something told me they would not have been so keen to trade with me if I were naked either. Alex order, I'm at the portal. Where are you at? The personal message chat blinked and a message from Alex came through. I was about to head towards the teleport but realized I couldn't. The entire square was now in motion. Pushing me away, a few players came running through, seemingly in panic. I could hear screams. People seemed to be fleeing the square. As I stood there, frozen, unable to comprehend what was going on, a character wearing a white robe over his armor and a helmet with an interesting pattern ran into me. He looked at me closely, squeezing my shoulder and pulling me along. Cat? What are you waiting for? Run! Quick! Super Chick is coming! Huh? Was the only sound I could produce. Then I saw her. In the scattering square, a young girl, or what looked like a girl, was now walking past us, as if in a dance. She wore light clothes and a short tunic that revealed most of her body. She laughed loudly as she walked. An intricate shining amulet hung from her neck, and a fiery halo was glowing around her, emitting heat that scorched my lashes and eyebrows. Run! Alex ordered. His bearded face winced as he forcefully pulled me along, squeezing both of us through a gap in the fortress wall. He reached for something in the bag attached to his belt, something resembling a scroll that immediately disappeared. Next, we were surrounded by a bluish crystal glow. Without stopping, Alex drew a complex sign in the air that immediately flashed blue and projected onto the stones beneath our feet. You are under the Ghost Shield. Magic damage resistance increased by 50%. Alex went on, drawing mysterious signs in the air. The symbols flashed and twined around Alex's wrist. As if obeying a gesture of command, they stuck to my body and faded. Rune Algiz was summoned. Resistance to all types of elemental damage increased by 25%. Rune Tavaz was summoned. All your attributes have been increased by 10%. And then, from behind my back, came the devious, obnoxious, whistling laughter of Super Chick, overpowering all other sounds. The fire flashed and lit up everywhere around us, filling the whole area with flames. I could hear the agonizing screams of the dying players and NPCs, who had no time to escape. An unbearable wave of heat consumed us as we pressed ourselves against the stone wall, covering our faces to protect ourselves from the flames. Super Chick inflicts damage. You receive 50 fire damage. Your HP 190 of 240. Super Chick inflicts damage. You receive 50 fire damage. Your HP 140 of 240. Super Chick inflicts damage. You receive 50 fire damage. Your HP 90 of 240. Your fire magic resistance increases by 1%. Super Chick inflicts damage. You receive 50 fire damage. Your HP 40 of 240. You are under the effect of Rune Plastur. You receive 30 HP every 3 seconds. Your HP is 70 of 240. I don't know if you can hear that. That is my neighbor turning on their water. Welcome to apartment life. In case you didn't know, I actually moved from a house to an apartment because I own a house and my mom is low income, so she ran into some trouble, so I let her move into my house, and now I'm in an apartment. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and continue. Well, I'm out, so that means I'm going to have to grab another one at the next notification. Where the fuck did I put my trash can? Oh, it's way the fuck over there. Oh no, don't fall over. Okay, it didn't. Sorry, my whole camera probably went. Yeah. Anyway. Damn it! Alex Order lowered himself onto the stones, looking at the dancing flames that were now fading away. His face was sweating. When will she quit? I hate her. Who is that? I asked, feeling my burned face. That was Super Chick, my bearded friend. I'm sorry, that's like the most generic name ever, which I find super hilarious, so if that's what the author was going for, that was like brilliant. My bearded friend laughed. Welcome to the sphere, cat. I could finally see him, Alex Order, and the clan watch. Apparently, Alex too had slightly altered his appearance in the game. While he was tall and broad-shouldered with a neatly trimmed beard in the game, he looked quite athletic. From how I remembered him, he was at least 30 pounds heavier in person. He wore a white tabard over chainmail, a round metal helmet covered with intricate engravings, as well as a sword in a small leather bag with sophisticated etched pattern attached to a wide leather band. Noticing my gaze, Alex patted it with his hand. That chick, to hell with her, almost burned me together with my little presence. Where is she? I asked, looking around the square. Stalls and tents were still in flames, and many burned bodies lay about. I'm actually super interested in this Super Chick character at this point. Anyway, she was killed by the guard. She comes in almost every day and hangs out until her reputation's dropped to hate. Then she deletes her avatar, creates a new one, levels it up for a week, and does it all over again. This is like the best character ever. I'm just saying that. Anyway, you got real lucky coming here today. There you go. Alex handed me a heavy hexagonal token made out of dense yellow metal. I wondered whether it might be made of gold. I'm just picturing somebody doing this, and I think it's like the most epic, amazing thing ever. I'm like just picturing somebody like power leveling as much as they can for a week, and like, I mean, realistically, in like all the games we have today, there's no way unless somebody devoted, even if somebody devoted like all of their time from like the time they got up to go to sleep, I don't think anybody could level in a week enough to do something like this. But the idea that somebody could just tickles me so much. Let's see. Alright, there are a few more notifications, so I'm going to take a little bit of a pause here, and I'm going to go get another beverage. Alright guys, that didn't take me that long. Because I grabbed Truly, and if you remember from one of my other videos, my pitch for this is that it is truly awful, and I truly don't recommend anybody ever drinking it. It is a low-calorie, low-carb beverage that I'll probably be drinking a lot. when and if I ever start keto, I bought a lot of like junk food groceries, so that might actually be a while. But for now, this is what I have the most of, so this is what I'm going to drink, and it won't get me as fucked up as that other stuff. So let me go ahead and get back to this. Let's see. You have received a portal token. Charges 3 of 3. It's so disgusting. Did you see the portal? Let's go. Press on the token when you get in and select the city of Danair. Wait, hold on. Danair. Remember? When the darkness of transition faded, I found myself at the top of a small hill covered in thick tall grass. Behind me, the portal stood shimmering. Not too far away, the wind played with a canopy of beautiful trees I did not recognize. I was looking at the mossy city walls up ahead in the distance, surrounded by a moat filled with water. The city was called Danair. Alex Order straightened his shoulders, enjoying the pleasant sensation of the cool night breeze on his burned face. 2 warriors who had been conversing by enormous granite boulders nearby were looking at us in surprise. Then one of them approached us. Alex, what are you doing here? The guard sounded surprised. I'm supposed to be here, my companion replied briefly and looked at me. Follow me, Cat. We head in the direction of the city that the locals called Ir. The city had hundreds of narrow streets that ran and intertwined within its mossy walls and houses. The city of the northern winds, tall towers, and beautiful night stars. I followed Alex's order in a half-empty tavern. He sat on a bench, gesturing me to sit opposite. The tavern guy, who looked bored to death, waved to Alex and approached. Hi, Karn, Alex said. Meet my friend Kat. Hi there, Alex. It's been a long time. The tavern guy, an older NPC with the light beard, looked at me. He glanced at Alex with a smile and periodically tapped him on the shoulder as if he were an old friend. Any friend of Alex is a friend of mine. Nice to meet you, Mr. Hot Cat. You received a personal recommendation. Your reputation with Karn increased by 100. Current value 90 of 100. Neutral. Oh my god, I've got to speak slowly or I'm gonna mess it up. Also, this is super carbonated, so if I burp a lot, I'm sorry. What would you like? 4 pints of dark beer and 2 charcoal grilled steaks, my friend smiled softly, and your special grilled veggies on the side. I took you from Fairs because it's very dangerous here, Alex said when the tavern guy had left. You're gonna live here? Ir is a good place, and not too hot. Here, he threw a leather bag over to me. There's 100. Should be enough for starters. Then you'll make some money yourself. Thanks, ma'am, but I can't accept it, I said, hesitating. Take it, Cat. I won't take no for an answer, Alex insisted. It's really nothing, but I asked for a room key from the tavern guy. He's the innkeeper. You can live here, and there's something else. Alex dug in his bag and took out a black leather belt with a strap, slightly worn in appearance, with rings for knives, and a small bag on the side. Take this instead of the rags from the trial. Get rid of the rags. I remember wearing them as a noob, Alex sighed. Go ahead, try it on. You received a new artifact. Panther skin belt with chest strap. Quality rare. Material leather. Durability 63 of 90. Weight 1 kilogram. 3 quick access slots. 2 item binding slots. Use slot, small traveler's bag, leather sheath brace. +3 agility, +2 physical defense, chest, +2 charisma, light armor skill used when worn. Cool, I whispered, touching the rough leather. The artifact was glowing a shade of blue, a rare characteristic, but most importantly, felt so real and great quality too. That's not all, Alex smiled as he placed more items on the table. 2 handcrafted books with elegant leather covers and copper-bound corners. They had intricate double buckles, dull metal in the shape of dragon faces. Opening one, I found pages full of maps with notes and explanations. The second book was blank with a dozen pristine white pages. You received a new artifact. Alex Order's Complete Atlas. Quality rare. Crafted by Alex Order. Contains 29 maps. Scalable. Do you want to open the atlas? Alex, I don't know what to say, I said, throwing my hands up. I'm lost for words. Allow me to feel like Santa at least once in my life, Alex laughed. Besides, I've been meaning to have a sort out of my chest for a long time. That's all I could find that would fit your skill levels. What's with the empty book? I asked curiously. It's for spells, rituals, recipes, and blueprints. You'll figure it out, Alex said mysteriously. Look, the beer's here. Thank you, Karn. Let's drink, and then you can tell me what you think of the game. Blowing on the white flakes of foam, I marveled at the reality of what was happening once again. My mortal body was now inside a capsule, and I, having completely forgotten about it, was chatting with an old friend over a beer. The beer was good and cold, reminiscent of Irish ale. The table felt so wooden. I pinched myself in the forearm and it hurt. It was like a drug. A second life, damn it. Alex nodded, looking toward the kitchen, rolling his eyes dreamily. Hey, how do I turn on smells? I asked, having completely forgotten about it. And what level of immersion do you use? Full, of course. You can activate the smells. There's a little tick in the setting. You can even do it from within the game, but level of immersion can be changed only after re-entry. Won't it hurt? I'm playing 50% and sometimes, brrr. I remember the skeleton poked me with its rusty stick. Kinda, but manageable. Everyone who's serious about the game plays with a high level of immersion, and there are reasons for that, Alex replied, finishing his first pint. I didn't read about it on the forums. Interesting. First, they don't like to write about it. The skills level up quicker when you're fully immersed. Your brain mobilizes when it knows something is going to hurt, and you get the maximum from your avatar. As a result, you do everything faster and better. You get quicker and stronger. The second reason is hardcore. It just feels good to be able to immerse in it fully and feel something you could never feel in real life. Have you ever tried deer cooked on a fire in the woods? Have you ever felt the adrenaline rush of chopping someone's head off? What's the third reason? Sex, Alex said, laughing. You'll figure it out soon enough. The sizzling steaks around, with grilling vegetables in round clay pots on the side, and bread on a large wooden platter. The silverware looked almost like ours, only with a medieval twist. The elaborate nature of the game, together with the level of attention to detail, amazed me. How did they manage it? Alright guys, that is the end of the sample. Again, this is Cat's Quest by Roman Prokofiev. Again, I might have butchered that name, I'm sorry. This is interesting because I feel like it's like very full game immersion. It has everything that you could think of in a game. If you like this, download a copy. You can buy a copy at the link provided. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good day, a good night, a good week, a good weekend, whatever time it is that you're watching this. Yeah, I'm super buzzed. And I will talk to you later.